He's right behind me, isn't he?
You're mine now.
Hey, Zaki's here. In this video I'm going to be talking about My Hero Academia's final season. And let me tell you, this season is the most chaotic shit ever. Goku vs Frieza level of violence. Stay tuned to the end to see who wins. And don't worry, even if you didn't watch last seasons, you will still understand what I'm talking about. So, episode 1 starts with information that the heroes are decreasing and getting weaker, while the villains are increasing and getting stronger. And Dobby, this motherfucker is about to go terrorist mode, and apparently Deku and Shigaraki are going at it. And Shigaraki is like prime Eminem right now. Anything he touches just evaporates, and he inherited the All For One. Speaking of All For One, he is flying towards Shigaraki and Deku, and he stole a bunch of powers and stole some random dude's body. Better than whatever that was. Dude, All For One is heading towards Deku and Shigaraki. What are we gonna do? Is there any backup? It's over. Wallahi, we're cooked. And then All Might appears and is like, don't worry guys, I got this.
Let him cook now. Let him cook.
But apparently he got no quirk. But then he gets into this robot suit.
Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Tell me this isn't drippy as fuck. Drip check, by the way. What are you wearing right now, dear viewer? You better have some drip on. Tell me in the comments what you're wearing and click the like button while you're at it. And then they start fighting, and boy is All For One pissed off at All Might. And then All Might starts kicking the shit out of All For One and talking about how here he is on his 50s beating up some random evil loser. If that was me, I wouldn't take that level of disrespect. That's just me though. And then All For One hits him with an explosion, and then he goes for another explosion, but All Might injects him with something. But then we get a flashback of All Might saying that he is tired of living in a world where people who steal from others gain the most. And then we see his master, agreeing with him. Man, I love All Might. There's a star man waiting. But apparently that injection didn't do shit to All For One. But then All Might starts laughing like a maniac for some reason. And then All Might tries to launch himself at All For One, but he gets attacked by these weird monsters. But then All Might gets punched right in the gut. But he shoves his arm right into All For One's mouth and starts freezing him.
And then the scene changes to this guy named Yoda, who apparently beat up 32 heroes and he is about to kill them. And apparently he absorbs the hero's power and makes flowers out of them. What a weirdo, man. And then he makes this massive flower and starts getting all horny and shit, talking about that's the biggest flower he made. And then we see Yoda. If you don't remember, Yoda was a spy for All For One, but he betrayed All For One for the heroes. And then Yoda starts having his moment, having flashbacks and getting hyped up. You know, classic anime behavior. And then he starts shooting lasers, and then the invisible girl appears from behind and hits the villain.
And then we go back to All Might, holding All For One so he can be shot down with a laser, and names the attack Can't Stop Twinkling. This arc has been explosion after explosion. What in the Austrian painter is going on? And then All Might uses some sound waves to keep All For One stuck under the laser. Bro is doing everything he could to take down All For One. The beef can't be that deep, dog. But All For One is a fucking demon. Prime King Von. Satan himself. I'm telling you, man, he just stands back up again and just smacks the shit out of All Might. And then he starts growing something out of him. Tell me he doesn't look like the tree from Elden Ring. And then All For One suddenly can't move. And then we see the coolest entrance ever. It's Stain. Wasn't he a damn villain? And a crazy one at that. He was a psychopathic killer if y'all remember. But welcome to the team, man. You look cool as hell. Also, if you're enjoying the video so far, are you? Are you enjoying the video? Anyway, leave a like and subscribe. Videos like these take so much effort to make, especially since I got so much studying to do. It's my final year of high school. Anyway, just like and subscribe and comment even to support me. Back to the video. And then we get a flashback of All Might as a kid. You know, when they show a flashback, either the character is dying or about to beat the final boss. Let's just see what happens to All Might. And then we come back to the present and we see All Might and Stain both attacking All For One. But he does whatever this is, and then he grabs Stain and crushes him. And then All For One throws Stain on a building and then flies to him because he wants to take his powers and kill him. Stain's powers are really strong after all. And then Stain gets crushed. Rest in peace, Stain. And then All For One hits All Might with a laser, but All Might gets protected by this robotic thing. I don't know, man. I don't know where that came from. Don't ask me. But he still gets blasted either way. And he imagines his master telling him to not give up. And apparently, he can't use his legs anymore.
My ears burn.
And then All For One tries to teleport Shigaraki to become one or something. I don't know, man. I skipped last season. Anyway, but Shigaraki refuses, which is cold as hell. And then All For One flies to All Might to kill him, but instead of killing him, he grabs him so people can record All Might and show the world his failure. All For One, you are one evil motherfucker. And then we see Deku and Shigaraki going at it. And then Deku sees All Might, and Deku senses that All Might is dying. And then All Might decides to blow himself up and sacrifice himself to kill All For One, because every time he regenerates, he becomes younger. Right now he is like a teenager, and All Might is hoping that he could at least turn him into a preschooler. But All For One stops All Might, which is anticlimactic. And then All For One smiles like he the Joker or some shit. And then we see people from all around the world watching All Might about to get folded. And then motherfucking Bakugo pulls up. Fuck yeah, man. And why does he look majestic as fuck right now? And then he and Deku starts moving like Prime Sasuke and Naruto. And then Deku launches Bakugo at All For One, and then we see Bakugo literally moving at the speed of light. And then Bakugo saves All Might. And apparently Edgeshot is here too, but he is just a piece of hair now and is gonna die because he sacrificed himself to revive Bakugo. And then All Might gives Bakugo some piece of equipment, and for the first time ever, Bakugo smiles in a kind way. After that, All For One starts flying towards Shigaraki, but in a fucking instant, Bakugo catches up and says the most cold line ever. He literally says, "I'm the final boss here." And then he grabs him and blows him up. And then All For One continues trying to fly to Shigaraki. And again, Bakugo goes so fucking fast in an instant.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
You're mine now.
And then he starts busting a nut. And then he hits the Gojo pose, the honored one looking ass. And then Bakugo explodes the shit out of All For One. But All For One is still alive. Also, All For One has PTSD from some guy named Kudo, who looks exactly like Bakugo. And looking at Bakugo makes him remember Kudo. I don't know, man. No matter how evil All For One is, he is really a pussy. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You need to leave!
And then we see All For One's backstory. Alright,
I'm gonna sum it up. I'm too lazy to edit this shit.
so All For One and his brother were born from a dead woman. And All For One started eating his mother or some shit, bro, what the And then years pass. All For One is evil as fuck and strong as hell. His brother is weak and kind, so yeah, it's not a good dynamic. And the story just continues, and All For One continues being an asshole and killing people. And then the One For All quirk gets made. But I do know one thing. Free my blood, All For One. He didn't do nothing wrong. Anyway, and then All For One goes crazy and becomes this monster thing with all the people he stole the quirk of. And then All For One launches himself at Bakugo. But Bakugo sends an explosion at him, and then he explodes the shit out of him. This is so satisfying to watch. Look at him whooping his ass. All For One was like, "This is my story, get the fuck out of here." And then Bakugo is like, "What? This is our story." That's the most power of friendship shit I've ever heard, man. And then he goes for a final explosion.
This story isn't yours. It's ours.
And then All For One turns into a baby and starts screaming and yelling, but Bakugo still kills him. What a pathetic way to go, man. And I'm gonna end the video here. If you want to see the continuation and see more, like and subscribe. If this video gets enough views, I will do a part 2 and recap more. So like and subscribe to stay updated, and love you guys. Bye bye.